Hello, I'm going to show you a rectification of a birth time just based on the behavior and personality of a person. Very often rectification is done by looking at events and seeing if the person probably was born at the time for those events to happen, blah, blah, blah. I won't go into all that, but just based on what the person is like, we can often tell what the birth time is. In the case of Paul McCartney, two times are given, 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. Let me show you that straight away. Here's Paul McCartney's chart. If I go into the data entry screen, I'm in the Series 3.0 software. I click on the link to his biographical information at astro.com. It comes up, and if I scroll down to the notes, it shows me that according to Nalini Kantadas, the astrologer, Nalini says that he got the data from Linda McCartney that Paul was born at 2 p.m. However, in a biography, it says that Paul McCartney was born at 2 a.m. So we have two contradictory pieces of information here. Astro.com goes with the 2 p.m. because the source for the 2 a.m. is not given. It's in the biography. So it's unclear, but they go with 2 p.m. Not entirely certain which one is correct. Can we tell from looking at the birth chart? Well, here's the technique we do for personality. We ask ourselves this question: does the person have some conspicuous personality trait, some unusual talent or behavior, something that really stands out as unusual? What occurs to you about Paul McCartney? What occurs to me as extraordinary and unusual is the number of songs he has written, the number of pieces he's arranged. As a creative musician, he's extraordinary. The number of things he has invented is almost unbelievable. So this to me stands out. Plus, just being an extraordinary musician as well. But, that songwriting ability and arranging, that really stands out as exceptional. So that should be in the chart, exceptional. We have this saying in vibrational astrology: extraordinary behavior comes from extraordinary planetary configurations. What would it be? What do you expect? What vibration do we expect for this? Well, what I often find, not necessarily, but usually, is 55 vibration. That may sound strange, but these vibrations that are multiples of two numbers, 11 and 5, those are the prime numbers. 11 times 5, they have tremendous power because they integrate two fundamental qualities, and it becomes a creative, specific expression. And 55 gives this flowing, often music or dance, this flowing creativity. It just takes off. It has a life of its own. It's just like presto, it just happens. And look at Paul McCartney's 55 vibration chart, a huge grand cross. Not only is there a grand cross, but there's a Venus-Uranus conjunction in the 55 vibration. Venus-Uranus is what we associate with music, dance, particularly bright, vibrant, like a rock and roll is one example, usually the most common example of Venus-Uranus in these vibrations. Doesn't have to be rock and roll, but it's bright, it's moving, it's vibrant. Also, we see Saturn, Mercury, Pluto all within 8 degrees, 16, 19, 24 degrees of Pisces, and the moon close by. Well, that would have to be born right very close to 2 p.m. We can do a time adjust, but regardless of time adjust, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto around 2 p.m. Well, just to show you, we can do the time adjust. Let's go 1 hour earlier. If he's born an hour earlier, configuration's still strong. The moon has moved out, but look at the Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, Venus, Uranus, very, very tight. If we go 2 hours earlier, go another hour earlier, still strong. 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Getting 5 or 6 hours early. By 6 hours earlier, we're now at 8 a.m. The configuration's broken down a lot. It's now spreading. Mercury, Saturn, Pluto's there, but it's weaker. So the bottom line is that he's born probably after 9 or 10 a.m. And here we're back to 2 p.m. And if we go forward 3, 4, by 5 p.m. it's a lot weaker, 6 p.m. So he's born somewhere around 9 or 10 a.m. to 3 or 4 p.m. 2 p.m. is pretty much in the middle of that. The configuration is strong right at the time he's born. And Mercury, Saturn, Pluto is exactly the configuration that shows up with songwriters. It might sound heavy, it might sound dark, it might sound restrictive. No, it's not. It's perfect because apparently what's going on is that the attention to detail, to sit down, play with the melody line, refine it, change the words a little bit, get the harmony, what chord pattern do we use? Oh, I didn't like the way that came down. Let me lift it up a little bit. Let's adjust it this way. There's a lot of tinkering, a lot of editing, a lot of perfecting for the people who write really good songs. Sometimes the basic melody line just comes to you. Wham, presto, you've got it. But getting it down so finely, it requires that kind of deep focus. And the reason we know this is not from theory, but by looking at charts. Here's Bob Dylan, 55 vibration. Mercury, Pluto, Sun, all within 6 degrees. Again, Mercury, Pluto. Both Bob Dylan and Paul McCartney, if Paul McCartney is born around 2 p.m., both have Mercury, Pluto in 55 vibration with another planet. And, with Dylan, Neptune is nearby, and Dylan has another configuration, Venus, Saturn, Uranus, which is very much inclined to music. His own particular unique style of music, which is, of course, what he did. Let's look at Carole King, another extraordinary songwriter. She wrote a huge number of original songs and arrangements. Also an extraordinary songwriter, just like Paul McCartney. And look at her huge stellium in 55 vibration. She has Jupiter 8 degrees from Saturn, Saturn 4 degrees from Mercury, Mercury 2 degrees from Mars. Her Saturn, Mercury, Mars is within 6 degrees. Now, Bob Dylan has Mercury and Pluto in 13 vibration. Not 13, 55, sorry. Let me say that again. Bob Dylan has Mercury and Pluto in 55 vibration. Carole King has Mercury, Saturn in 55 vibration. And Paul McCartney has Mercury, Saturn, just like Carole King, and Mercury, Pluto, just like Bob Dylan. Let me go back to Carole King. When Mercury combines with Saturn or Pluto or Mars or the Sun in 55 vibration, almost any planet, but those in particular, you get the ability to focus in, edit, refine that creative flow that's just coming through you. It comes through and then you put it down. You get to that piano, you start figuring out those notes and the attention and the sustained effort and getting in underneath it and really extracting out the inspiration that's in it to get it right. Shows up over and over and over in songwriters. Bob Dylan, Carole King, Paul McCartney, if he's born at 2 p.m., have the same exact kind of configurations. And you've noticed already, Carole King, who's, like out of this world songwriter, she has Uranus trying this Mercury and Mars. And weakly to Saturn as well. So Uranus just comes in and adds more flow and spontaneity to it. Some of her songs have a nice, vibrant, Uranian kind of freedom to it. So there you have it, my friends. Bottom line, if Paul McCartney's born at 2 p.m., look at that classic configuration. So similar to Bob Dylan and Carole King. It's really just really amazing. It's sort of classic, almost undeniable inclination to this. So Paul McCartney tells a story that he grew up and there was a piano in the house and they played the piano, and I saw one interview of him and he says, I just went to the piano and started playing, and then he kind of says jokingly, I don't recommend this to all of you. Don't just go there and start playing, take lessons or something. Almost as if to say, not everybody has 55 vibration Venus and Uranus like I do. It doesn't just flow for everybody. There it is. So if we get the birth certificate for Paul McCartney, I'm sure it's going to be around 2 p.m. That's how you can very often see the character and the personality in the vibrations. The zodiac signs are important, but all they do is color the energy flow. They do not make the energy flow. The energy flow is made by the planetary configurations. And then the signs draw out a certain color, a tone, a texture, an attitude for that energy flow. They don't make the energy flow. And so a talent is going to come from these planetary configurations. And Paul McCartney, one of his strongest vibrations is exactly the vibration we see over and over for songwriters, arrangers of music, and with the planets that are common to those configurations. So there you have it. Sometimes you just pull up the chart you expect. With Paul McCartney, it was easy and straightforward because he has a conspicuous talent. He did happen to have the typical standard thing that we've seen for it, and right away we could see, it's 2 p.m. That quick, that easy, that fast. All right, my friends, well, I wanted to show you that. This is a fairly quick and straightforward video, about 12 minutes long. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. God bless. Namaste.